powers are legendary. Their origins are unknown. Their methods are extreme.
And the game is on.
LXG, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Alright guys, welcome to the Pick'em Show. The preview with the playoff primer this week, of course. Now, if you can tell, I'm back in the towel room. I'm back in our little Japanese bathroom here. And actually not a bathroom, it's actually just a bath in a room, actually, as you can see. This is Japanese style. But I have a sick daughter and a sick wife taking a little nap, so I'm locking myself in here, try to give them some peace. But let's get started here. We're going to start with one of our few matchups that still has a really big effect on our playoff positioning, which would be Yay Boys in Spandex versus Dirty Slovaks. I know what you're saying. Yay Boys in Spandex? The last place team. Yes, they are. But they're playing the 4th seed, the Dirty Slovaks, who is dangerously close to Josh's Chi-Town Beatdown, as well as only being a half game ahead of Steven Rumba. So he's going to need to get this win to get in. And if he gets the win, he's in. That simple. No tiebreakers, no worries. Let's see how he's going to have to do it. He has Wentz and Jeffrey at the LA Rams. And I think, the LA Rams, that pass defense is actually legit. They have a really rough run defense. So I could really see Jay Ajayi, Blunt, and Clement all getting some run. And I can see them setting the tempo and keeping this game, which will probably be high scoring. But Wentz is going to get something. It's freaking Carson Wentz. He got something against Seattle. So he's going to eat a little bit. But the question is, who's going to eat with him? Is it going to be Jeffrey? Is it going to be Torrey Smith? Is it going to be one of the running backs? I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. He's got Devontae Adams at Cleveland. Man, it's just hard to trust any Packer, man. 84 yards. 84 yards. That wasn't Devontae Adams' total yards last week. That wasn't Jordy Nelson's total yards. That was all Packer receivers, anyone who caught a ball. They had 84 passing yards last game. You can't trust that, man. At least I can't, at least. He's got Le'Veon Bell at Baltimore and the Pittsburgh defense. Sorry, not at Baltimore. Hosting Baltimore. And the Pittsburgh defense as well, hosting Baltimore. And, as long as they don't pull Detroit and let them get 44 points, that should actually be a good play. Le'Veon Bell at Baltimore. Baltimore got their defensive tackle back a couple weeks ago, and their run defense looked a lot better. Without Jimmy Smith, they might be able to get in the red zone a couple more times, give them some more chances at a touchdown. So we'll see what happens. But that game specifically, the Baltimore-Pittsburgh game, is going to be huge in this matchup. We're going to hit on that a little more in a second. He also has Danny Amendola, who's going to be playing against the Miami Dolphins. With Gronk out, he could feast on targets. And he also has Gostowski going the same game as his kicker, and I think he's pretty much a lock for double digits. On the other side, what he's going to have to worry about is Larry Fitzgerald versus Tennessee. We all, maybe not we all, but I know I scoffed a little bit when I saw that first round pick tick off the clock with Larry Fitzgerald. But you know what? He's been worth it, man. He's a wide receiver 1 on the year. He's doing great. She's got the Green Bay defense at Cleveland. And while Josh Gordon, he makes you think a little bit, DeShone Kizer's still going to get sacked at least 5 times. He's going to at least throw 1 turnover. And then maybe 3, who knows? One guy does not fix that whole offense. So the Green Bay Packer defense should be just fine. I'm a little bit more worried about them getting the win, but the defense should score a couple points. Carlos Hyde at Houston. Houston has a sneaky good run defense on the season, but the recency bias here, the last 3 weeks, they've been getting ran on pretty efficiently. So Carlos Hyde could have himself a good day. And again, here becomes the hard part. these are actually both bad matchups on paper, with Alex Collins at Pittsburgh and Martavis Bryant versus Baltimore. But of course, as I said earlier, Jimmy Smith is out, and Alex Collins has looked really good the second half of the season here. So we're going to see what happens. With Collins for Yay Boys in Spandex, Le'Veon Bell for Dre Slovaks, and with Martavis Bryant for Yay Boys in Spandex, and Pittsburgh defense for Dre Slovaks, this one game is going to have a big swing on this matchup and could be a deciding factor. In this game, I actually picked Yay Boys in Spandex to get the win. You look at my picks this week. You can probably tell I don't even care anymore, man. I've won the season. Josh ain't catching up. So I just went purely on gut, how I felt at that moment. And I was a little drunk, so this is what went down. And the reason, actually, why I think it's going to happen, Marcus Mariota, where are you at, man? You've been gone all season. You've had one good game. I think playing Arizona this week, I think he's finally going to show up. I don't know why. I have no inside information. I don't know anything about any secret wound that's finally healed. I got nothing. I just think this 1 week he's going to show up. He's going to make it happen. He's going to start to click, get that team in the playoffs. So I did pick A-Boys and Spandex, and I didn't have any calls this week. This week, I'm just going to call the point differential, what I think will be the final score differential. And I do believe that Yay Boys is going to win this game. And I think it's going to be within 10 points.
All right, folks, here we go. It's week 14, and that means it's the last week of the regular season here. So let's jump right into these previews. One here with some big playoff implications here is OG Billy Witch Doctor, who sports a 9-4 record and currently sits in third place, going up against Bag of Dickas, who right now sits in fifth and has a record of 8-5. So a win here for the Dickas would bring Jeremy and the Dickas into a tie, meaning you would look at the head-to-head record and the overall points scored for the tiebreaker there. So both these guys had had Atlanta receivers on the Thursday night game, and Sanu with his touchdown outscored Julio Jones 14-9. Let's take a look at the rest of the rosters here. In the matchup of the quarterbacks, Jeremy rolling with Jared Goff this week, who's going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. That could be a high-scoring game, so you could see a lot of production here for Goff, projected for 19. On the other side, a matchup I really like this week, that is Derek Carr going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Looks like Carr is going to get his full complement of receivers back, and he torched the Chiefs back earlier in the season, the one game where Amari Cooper really went off. So that's one of my favorite quarterback plays of the week, and I think Carr could edge out Goff here in a battle of the quarterbacks. Now we look down at the wide receivers for OG Billy Witch Doctor. A couple good matchups. One good matchup that I like a lot is Goodwin for San Francisco. Looked to have some good chemistry with Jimmy Garoppolo last week. Was a perfect 8 for 8 on his catches for, I think, 99 yards last week. So if he's able to find the end zone, he could definitely outshine his projection for 8 going against that Houston Texans defense. Robbie Anderson, who was a little bit nicked up this week with a hamstring injury, going up against Denver. Anderson's been great of late. Lots of, I think 6 touchdowns in 5 games. Definitely getting a lot of deep balls thrown his way. But going up against Denver in Denver this week, and I think that's a tough matchup for him. So I'm not expecting a lot of points there. On the other side, a couple running backs that have good matchups for Bag of Dickas. Looking at Melvin Gordon going up against Washington. He's projected for 12. Gordon, while inconsistent, still heavily involved in the passing game as well as the running game. So I like his volume there against Washington. And that game could have shootout potential written all over it there. So look for Gordon to have a big day, currently projected for 12. And Dickas also has a couple New York Giants players on his roster this week. Orleans Darkwa, the running back, who I think now that Eli Manning's going to be back under center, could have a pretty good day, being that they're looking to probably throw the ball a little bit more. Also Sterling Shepard back in the mix here with Eli under center. So I think I think when you look at this matchup here, Dickus is supposed to be slated to win 88-74. Jeremy still hasn't put a kicker in for this week, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But it could all come down to Monday night, as OG Billy Witch Doctor has Kenyon Drake for Miami going up against New England in that Monday night matchup. Hopefully it doesn't come down to that, because I think Dickus has the edge here, especially in the quarterback and running back positions. So big win for Dickus this week would put him squarely in the playoff mix, and seeing what happens with the tiebreakers here. So I got Bag of Dickus winning this one in week 14.
My next preview also has a little effect on the playoff picture, possibly, as it takes our number 2 seed, Nuzzy Futz, versus our number 6 seed, Chi-Town Beatdown. Now, Nuzzy Futz is going to be locked in the playoffs because of his point scores on the season. But he could take a fall down to the 3 spot, maybe in the 4 spot, depending on what happens this week. But Josh, Chi-Town Beatdown, still does have a slim chance, very slim, but still a slim chance of making the playoffs. And the first domino that has to happen for that to come to fruition, he has to get the win. It's that simple. Let's see if he can do it. In the matchup, the original projection was 83-96. After Thursday Night Football, it's 84-96. As Michael Thomas got 17, but Mark Ingram fell well short of his projections and only got 8. Going into the week, Nuzzy Futz has some pretty good matchups, with Alex Smith versus Oakland, Brandon Cooks at Miami, and Keenan Allen versus Washington. While I have full confidence in Keenan Allen, Alex Smith, if this was week 7, hey, I'd have full confidence. But this isn't week 7. The last 6 weeks, he's only really had one good game. So, we'll see what happens. Brandon Cooks is Brandon Cooks, man. Like, every week, you're always a little shaky put him in your lineup because it's freaking Brandon Cooks. He could put up a goose egg and not even care. Just boop, there you go, crap on your team. But he could turn around and score like 35 points. So, you kind of have to play him. And at Miami, that's about as good as a matchup he's going to get all year. So you plug him in, and you feel good about it until the game starts, and it's the third quarter, and he maybe only has 50 yards. But we'll see what happens. He does have 2 good players, Todd Gurley and Jordan Howard, as running backs, but they are in not the best situation this week, as Todd Gurley is playing Philadelphia at home, which has a really good run defense. I believe they're top 1 best or second best in the league at the moment. So we'll see what happens there. This is kind of a game where it might come down to Cooper Kupp getting fed and maybe Sammy Watkins getting some love. But Todd Gurley is a 3-down back, so he will be able to get some passes up the backfield as well. So I think he'll just be just fine. He might not have a blow-up game, but he'll probably get his right around 9-10 points. This is safe floor. Jordan Howard, man, it's like Alex Smith, man. It's just hard to trust it. And Cincinnati's not a great matchup. Cincinnati has a decent defense, though they lost a couple pieces from the last game with Pittsburgh. But they have enough pieces there to keep the line strong and keep them contained. So we'll see what happens. His wild card for this week is actually going to be the Buffalo defense, and I think this might be the turning point in this matchup, how that defense plays out. They're hosting Indianapolis, which is a great matchup. It's wonderful. But, man, Nathan Peterman, you can't throw 5 picks. Your defense can't make up for that. If you're throwing the pick, giving them 30-yard fields to work with, it's not going to be a good day for that defense. So we'll see what happens. For Josh, he's got some great players, but some epically hard matchups, man. He's got the Funches and the Newton connection hosting Minnesota. So yeah, they're at home, but man, that's a good defense, and they got a lockdown corner, and he's going to be all over Funches. Funches is banged up as it is. And Minnesota has a defensive line that can contain Cam Newton, keep him from running for 45 yards. So we'll see what happens there. He's got DeMarco Murray at Arizona. Again, he's not really the starter anymore. Him and Derrick Henry, they're pretty much splitting it 50-50 at this point. And Arizona is a good run defense. The one chance he does have is he has a Walker in the Tennessee defense at Arizona. The Arizona offense hasn't looked horrible since they got Blaine Gabbert in there. That's hard to say, but they haven't looked awful. So I don't know if Tennessee defense is going to get that many points. And Walker's he's been a beast last couple weeks. But we'll see what happens. In this game, I picked Nazir Futz, and man, I think it's going to be a blowout. I pretty much, all the 4 games I'm calling, I got them bracketed. The last game, as I said, I think it's going to be a 10-point game. This, I think, is going to be a 20-point game. I think Aaron's going to win easily going away, 20, 25 points.
All right, and in my next Week 14 preview here, we got the first place Barbarians going up against Adamas Llamas. Barbarians comes into the matchup with a record of 10-3, really killing it this year. And Llamas sitting just above 500 at 7-6, currently in 7th place. A win here for the Llamas could potentially put him in the playoff mix. Would have to be a lot of math working in his favor there. But let's take a look at the matchup here. On the Llama side of the ball, we're looking at Tom Brady going up against the Miami Dolphins defense on Monday night. And this whole matchup could hinge on that game alone, as Brady needs to put up big points after a dud last week, and that could swing the whole thing for the Llamas here. A couple other interesting matchups. We have Mike Evans, who everyone thought was going to do big things last week, going up against the Detroit Lions. That game could end up with a lot of points scored there, and Detroit's got some good cornerbacks, so I'm not sure about Mike Evans' projection at 9 points, but if he does hit the end zone, he should well exceed that. Also in that game, the Llamas are going with Peyton Barber, the running back, and he had a great week last week. I think like 130 combined yards on the ground and through the air. He's only projected for 5 points, which I'm not really sure what Yahoo has got going on there, but again, if he hits the end zone, he's going to well exceed that. And then also got a lot of juice in the Seattle Seahawks versus the Jacksonville Jaguars here, as playing both Doug Baldwin and D.D. Westbrook going against each other. This game's being played in Jacksonville, which I think changes things a little bit. The Seahawks are great at home, a little less potent on the road. So this could really turn into a defensive matchup here, and it could be a very low-scoring game. So a little concern on the Llama side for the wide receivers. Now, one guy he's got going up, it's a sweet matchup, is LaShawn McCoy. The Buffalo Bills are going into Indy, and Indy's got a terrible defense, and looks like maybe the Bills are going to have to roll with Nate Peterman at quarterback this week, and that should mean big volume for McCoy. McCoy, one of the steadiest players in fantasy football, sees plenty of targets through the air, and could see 30-plus touches this week, which could result in some big fantasy scores there. He's currently projected for 13. For the Barbarians, had a lot of juice in the Thursday night game. So he had Freeman, who back from a concussion, found the end zone and ended up with 15 points. Also, the Atlanta kicker, Matt Bryant, came away with 10. Kind of a hit for the Barbarians here was Alvin Kamara leaving early in the game and only having 2 points. Not sure what his status is going forward here for the rest of the playoffs. So big concern for the Barbarians heading into the playoffs. But still has Antonio Brown going up against Baltimore this week. That's a big rivalry game. He's projected for 14 points. He's pretty much matchup proof. I mean, Baltimore's got a really good secondary, but no one shuts down Antonio Brown, so I don't see him having any problem hitting his projection here in this one. And another one, a game that I think could have a lot of points scored, is the LA Chargers going up against the Washington Redskins. And Barbarians has 2 guys going in this one. He's got his quarterback, Phillip Rivers, who's projected to get 17, and also that Chargers defense. So that could be an interesting stack there. I like Rivers to go above his projection at 17. Like I said, I think this game's got shootout potential. Rivers, Cousins, not very good defense on the Washington side, and this score could get up there. So you could see Rivers with another big day, especially if Keenan Allen continues to play the way that he is. At this point, Barbarians are expected to win this matchup 86-82. Llamas fighting for their playoff hopes here, so let's see what they can do. I do have the Barbarians taking down the Llamas in this matchup and locking up first place and number 1 seed in the playoffs.
All right, in my third breakdown here, I got Chicago Bears versus Excuse to Start Soon. This one is projected originally as at 80 to 79, but is now 71 to 77 after Kristen had Austin Hooper only go for 2 and Will Lutz, her kicker, only go for 5 on Thursday Night Football. To keep it rolling, she's going to have Wilson, that's the Russell, going to Jacksonville. And that's, man, I have him in the league. Actually, I have him in 2 other leagues, and I'm not playing him, man. I can't do it. I'm a Jacksonville believer. You know, you guys saw me make the deal to get him. I'm a full believer, man. I think it's, you know, that's 85 Bears right there, man. That's a nasty defense. And Wilson, they might actually win the game. You know, Seattle can go in there and get the win, but Russell Wilson's not scoring 20 points. I mean, dude, a good day for him. A good day for him is going to be like 17, and that's okay, but, you know, fantasy playoffs, man, around the corner, you want 20 points, man. That's a quarterback. So, you know, I can't, you know, I'm putting someone in, I'd rather put someone who had a chance to get it, but we'll see what happens. Devontae Parker, man, he's a ghost. What happened to that guy? He had a good couple weeks there at the beginning of the season. You know, everyone's kind of high on him. You know, Jay Cutler's going to bomb it out to him, but he's pretty much disappeared the second half of the season. So that might not go so well for her. She's got Adam Thielen at Carolina. Should be just fine, but Carolina's not a horrible defense. This is a pre-playoff matchup. 2 teams fighting for position. Well, for Carolina, they're still fighting to get in. So they might be amped up. Carolina's going to be at home. They're going to be hosting. He should still be okay, but maybe just okay. Maybe not like a 12, 15-point day. Maybe more like a 7 to 9-point day. The one good thing she has going is her running backs. If Lamar Miller the one good thing she has going is her running backs. If Lamar Miller versus San Francisco and Marshawn Lynch at Kansas City. I think both those running backs will have good days, should break double digits. And, you know, they're going to give her a chance to possibly get this win. On the other side of the ball, our excuses start soon. Matt, or as at this point may just be the ghost, we'll see what happens. They have DeAndre Hopkins in that same game with Lamar Miller versus San Francisco. And, man, he's been feasting against good defenses the last 3 weeks. And this is one of the worst defenses in the league. Man, DeAndre Hopkins, if he breaks 25, I would not be surprised. But I definitely think he's going to get at least over 14. It's going to be a good day for him. He's got Alfred Morris at the New York Giants. And, you know, Alfred Morris, you know, he's Alfred Morris, man. He's Alf. You know, this isn't like a game-changing kind of guy. But the Giants, they're not going to blow anyone out. Morris is going to be able to run the whole game, run all day. He should put up 100 yards. Probably get a touchdown, be just fine. He also has Frank Gore at Buffalo. If you look at the Colts schedule, this is his last soft matchup. And it's not even that soft, but it's the last decent one he has. And I got a funny feeling, man, Gore's going to be amped up. You know, he's going to know, like, this is it. This might be my last hurrah, my last chance to get that 100-yard game, go out on a high note. So I don't got full confidence, but I got a funny feeling Gore's going to have himself a day. And then we got Deshaun Jackson. He's going to be playing Detroit. And Detroit does have one shutdown cornerback. One really, really good one in Darius Slay. There you go, Joe. I give you boys some love. But yeah, Darius Slay, man, he's about as good as it gets right now in the NFL. And he's going to be plaster on Mike Evans. That means the rest of that offense is going to have a chance to make some noise. So I can see Deshaun Jackson getting one of those long touchdowns he's known to get. But in this game, if you can't tell by my preview notes, I picked Excuse to Start Soon. And I don't think it's going to be that close. I think this is going to be right around a 15-point win for Excuse to Start Soon.
Okay, my next preview here, we have the 4-9 Heinrich maneuver going up against the 6-7 Carlos. Let's take a look at the quarterbacks here in this matchup. 2 guys that have been underperforming of late, one due to injury and one due to the loss of their running back. But we have Heinrich Maneuver running out to Jameis Winston, who was not very good in his comeback from shoulder injury last week, and looks to step up his game a little bit here against Detroit in what could be a high-scoring game. Winston's projected for 15 in that one. On the other side, we got Dak Prescott rolling out for Carlos and going up against the New York Giants. Now, Prescott, I think, probably will outperform Jameis Winston in this matchup here, but one of the things that could equal things out for the Heinrich Maneuver is that he's rolling with Dez Bryant. So in order for Carlos to kind of take the advantage there, Prescott's going to have to throw to someone other than Dez Bryant. Otherwise, those points are mostly going to cancel out. Let's look at a couple of the receivers here for Carlos. Tyreek Hill, who I think has a pretty good matchup this week. I don't think we're going to see another 30-point performance out of him, but they are going up against Oakland, and Oakland's got a pretty soft defense. And this game, Hill, still involved. Maybe that Chiefs offense has turned the corner a little bit, but Hill's currently projected for 9, so touchdown dependent there if he's going to beat his projection. And also looking at T.Y. Hilton for Carlos. Now, the Colts have been not terrible on offense, but if you look at the splits, T.Y. Hilton is a much different receiver at home than he is on the road, and unfortunately, Indy's heading up to Buffalo this week, so I think you temper expectations for a T.Y. Hilton this week. He's currently projected for 8. I don't think, unless he gets in the end zone, that he has a good shot at hitting that projection. I think for me, where this matchup really turns here is for the running back. So on the Heinrich Maneuver side, we have Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry, two guys that unless they get in the end zone, you're probably looking at double digits here. I think that Tennessee Titans rush offense has been one of the most frustrating to try and figure out this fantasy season, as both Derrick Henry and DeMarco Murray are almost in an even timeshare. Henry has had the advantage here lately, getting the touchdowns and the goal line work. So Heinrich Maneuver hoping that's the case this week, so that way he can pull this one out. On the other side, you got Leonard Fournette going for Carlos, and also Dion Lewis. So Fournette going up against Seattle, playing at home. Seattle's rush defense is not as fierce as it once was, so hopefully the young rookie can do some damage there for Carlos. And then Dion Lewis, who's been consistent for the Patriots, going Monday night against Miami. He's currently projected for 9 points, but one concern there is it seems like that the Patriots have started to lean more towards Rex Burkhead down by the goal line, so could have a hard time hitting his projection there, but is still seeing about 15 touches a game, and that's a really potent New England offense, so anything could happen there. So a really close matchup in this one. Right now, Carlos is supposed to win 81-76, but if none of their guys score touchdowns, this could really go either way. I think this is a coin flip, and for me, I did take Carlos, the favorite in this one. Both these teams are currently out of the playoffs, but playing for pride here, trying to get that last win of the regular season. Again, I got Carlos taking down Heinrich Maneuver here in Week 14.
All right, my fourth and final breakdown preview was going to be, why am I talking like that? It's going to be for the Kneecaps versus Joski. Original projections were 76-78. After Thursday, it is now 69-78 projections favoring Joski. For the Kneecaps, the good is Michael Crabtree at Kansas City. And I know what you're thinking. Jeremy, he didn't do so good last time. He got lucky with a touchdown. Yeah, last time he had Marcus Peters, one of the top cornerbacks in the league, plaster over him all game. But you know what that guy did? He threw a red flag into the stands, and Andy Reid told him to take a seat for a week. So Crabtree's going to have plenty of free air to fly in, and I think he's going to be just fine. Especially for Amari Cooper, if his hammy and his ankle are more banged up than he thinks it is, and he's going to be slowed down. He has Marvin Jones Jr. at Tampa Bay, which, as we're going to get to in a second, we covered Joe's team, is going to be a nice way to balance out what Joe's going to be bringing to the table, and also may be pretty good because Tampa Bay's pass defense is horrid. He also has Samaje Perine at the LA Chargers. And the Chargers actually have a decent defense. That is a pass defense. Their rush defense is pretty bad. That's the one place you can attack them. You know, their rush defense actually would be a lot worse if they get up on teams quick enough that teams can't keep running the ball on them all game. So their stats are a little bit deceiving. I think the Redskins will be able to keep up with them point-wise, so they'll be able to run all game. And I think Samaje Perine should have a pretty good day. You know, not a great day, not a 20-pointer, but 12 to 15 should be all right. And then the Philly defense at the LA Rams. I don't know why it's in there, man. Like, I get it. It's slim pickings this time of year, but LA Rams, this isn't last year. This isn't the Jeff Fisher hiatus, man. He's gone. This LA Rams squad is pretty good. So I don't know how much they're going to get up. I know the Philly defense did kind of okay last week, but Seattle's offensive line is horrid. They were able to still get some sacks. The LA Rams got a decent offensive line, so I'm not really trusting that matchup. And he has LeGarrette Blount at the LA Rams in the same game, which is a good matchup on paper. Their run defense is also really bad. But this is a three-headed beast, and last week, it was they were behind, so J.I. got some more play. But maybe that's a sign of things to come. Maybe, they trade to get J.I. Maybe he is going to be their RB1 for the playoff stretch in the playoffs. And maybe this is the week they make that transition and they say, this is your dude, you're our guy. Let's go get this Super Bowl. We'll see what happens. But LeGarrette Blount, if he gets a couple goal line carries, plugs one or two in, he could have a monster day. For Joski, Detroit at Tampa Bay. The Detroit Lions will be at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is how I have to start every preview for a Joski game, because that's going to be the deciding factor. Oh, what was that? The hype train? Tampa Bay? That's a horrible defense. Yeah, I know. Let's get that hype train rolling. Oh, yeah. Hey, Stafford, man. Ring that bell, buddy. Oh, what? What? You can't pull the train bell? You can't make it whistle? What? Oh, your hand's all busted up? Oh, brother, man. I'm so sorry, man. Hype train's ready to roll. Oh, we're going to see what happens, man. That hand, I had to dig on the internet to find a picture, but I found a picture. That hand's nasty looking, man. He's been wearing that like Michael Jackson style, wearing that glove all week every time he's talked to reporters. He's trying to hide something. He knows it ain't pretty. But he's going to play, and we'll see what happens, man. If Stafford's fine, if the swelling's down, dude, it's going to be great. Josie's going to win walking away, man, because Tampa Bay's defense is horrible. But, man, if that's his hand, that's his throwing hand. We'll have to see what happens. I mean, that is the deciding factor. Really, that is what it is, because he has AJ Green at Chicago. He's going to eat just fine. That's going to be a great matchup. He should get double digits. He's got Jimmy Graham at Jacksonville, which is the one spot that I trust that whole game is Jimmy Graham. He'll get double digits somehow. But, man, it's just, Stafford's hand, man. That's all it's about right now. If that hand's okay, Josie should get this win. But you know what? When I made my picks, after I saw that picture of his hand, and I said, nah, dude, that ain't good. That ain't good at all. So I picked the kneecaps in this one. But either way, I think it's going to be a 5-point game. Whether kneecaps gets the win or not, I think this is going to be the closest game of the week, and I think it's going to be within 5 points. All right, now, time for the playoff primer. First, let me bring you our little crew we got going here. This is the Tombstone crew. Sorry, guys. I love y'all. Again, Ben, I see you making those moves, man. I appreciate it. I really do. Neil, I see you too. Making some moves. I appreciate it, guys. I love that you guys are still making some moves. Trying to keep everyone honest. try and get those wins. But these 5 teams here are either precisely out of the playoffs because of the record, or they are way too far behind the points to actually feasibly come back this week to make either the consolation or the championship bracket. Now, speaking of championship brackets, here is our lovely green, currently in bracket. With the Barbarians currently in the 1 spot, we had a 10-3 record, and Nuzzy Futz in 2nd seed at a 9-4 record. And I have them locked in. Craig is officially locked in, even by Yahoo standards. That's why he has a nice little star next to his game on the league site. But Nuzzy Futz, because of his point lead over everyone else, with the exception of the Barbarians, to me, he's locked in. I don't see any way of me outscoring him or the bag of dickas outscoring, which is what would have to happen for him to get knocked out. So he's locked in. Nuzzy Futz and Barbarians, congratulations. Our other 2 teams here, OG Billy Witch Doctor at 9-4 with 1,059 points, and the Dirty Slovaks 8-4-1 with 1,165 points, are currently in and are kind of comfortable. It's going to take quite a bit of havoc to knock either one of them out. So this is our currently in, subject to change. Then, of course, we always have every year now our first pick Royal Rumble. This is our currently in teams for that. With the Bagadickas at 8-5 and 996 points, Chi-Town Beatdown at 7-5-1 with 1,098 points, Adamas Llamas at 7-6 with 1,080 points, and Carlos at 6-7 with 1,046 points. Now, here's the great thing. As you can tell, Adama is locked in. I hate to break your heart, Dom, if you're watching this and you saw your preview for your game and Josh said, he still has a chance. No, you don't. I hate to break it to you, man. Me and Josh both went to Bemidji State University in Minnesota, but he clearly did not take the advanced math classes that I took because he doesn't seem to understand that a tie is a half a point while a loss is a 0 point. So, Adama, because of Chi-Town Beatdown's tie, and Dirty Slovaks ties, you have no chance to make the playoffs. Sorry to tell you, boss. But you are definitely locked into the consolation bracket. You cannot fall out of there. And Carlos is the one guy who might take a tumble. And how could that happen? Well, let's take a look at our good old passing lane. For the championship, we have 2 teams in the passing lane, the Bag of Ditkas and Chi-Town Beatdown. For the Bag of Ditkas, what they need to do is just win the game. They need to beat OG Billy Witch Doctor and then do it in convincing fashion, beating me by 62 points. If he can do that, which would be epic, it would be completely epic, dude. It would be part of me wants to see it happen, but I don't think it is going to happen. But hey, we'll see what happens. So he has to beat me by 62 points. No, sorry, 64 points. He has to beat by 64 points. Chi-Town Beatdown. Again, there's some dominoes that have to fall. Okay, we're looking at, he needs to win. He needs Bagadikas to lose. He needs Dirty Slovaks to lose. And then he has to outscore the losing Dirty Slovaks by 28 points. If all that happens, the 4 dominoes, he'll make the playoffs. For our first round Royal Rumble, we have 1 team still alive in the passing lane. That is Droski at 5-8 with 1,019 points. For him to get in, he's going to need the win, of course, and Carlos to lose, and to outscore Carlos by 28 points. If he can do that, he'll squeeze into the Royal Rumble and have a chance at the first pick of the draft. All right, guys. Man, it's been a great season. This is the end of the regular season. Don't worry. We're gonna power through a couple more episodes for the playoffs, of course. But for everyone, man, thanks for playing this year. Yeah, man, if you see Matt on the streets of Chicago, give him a hug. Tell him we love him. Try to get him to come back. If not, keep those ears open. We're going to need one more player for next year.